السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال ويقبل فيها قول العبد والحر والأمة إذا كانوا عدولا، لأن عند العدالة الصدق الراجع والقبول لرجحناه. من المعاملات فمن المعاملات ما ذكرناه، ومنها التوكيل، ومن الديانات الإخبار بنجاسة الماء، حتى إذا أخبره مسلم مرضي لو يتوضأ به ويتممى.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم نوّر قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا من نور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرارك. ربنا ولا ت... ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا، أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. قال إيا القدوري رحمه الله تعالى: نفعنا الله بعلومه وعلوم مشايخنا وبكم. ويقبل فيها قول العبد والحر والأمة إذا كانوا عدولا. So we're busy discussing accepting. The kitab is Kitab al-Karahiyah, which discusses those which are permissible and impermissible. There are various chapters in it or sub-chapters in it. So we're busy discussing accepting information from people. So we mentioned yesterday that in Mu'amalat, you can accept even the evidence or the statement, rather, of a fasik, of an open sinner. However, you won't accept his opinion or his word in diyanat, matters that are related to deen. And then we said the mastur, according to some of our ulama, is the same as a fasik. However, according to Muhammad Rahmatullahi, a mastur, you can accept his word, even in diyanat. Now he's saying, well, you qualify that you will accept in it, many in diyanat, the statement of a slave male and a free person and a female slave, if they are adul, if they are just, if they are upright. While إن العدالة الصدق راجح. Why? Because when the quality of righteousness is found, then the quality of truthfulness is most likely and is more likely to be so. Because obviously you can't be upright and righteous if you're a liar. So if a person upright is righteous, then the quality of truthfulness will most likely be found in that person. والقبول لرجحانه. And acceptance, meaning accepting a person's statement, is because of the likelihood of truth. Rujhan said. The reason why we accept people's statement or their word is because they are most likely to be truthful. فمن المعاملات ما ذكرنا من يستبعدها, meaning from the examples of mu'amalat is what we have already mentioned, like giving gifts and so forth, informing a person of a sale and so forth. ومنها, and further example is التوكيل. If someone has made somebody a wakil and any of these people come and inform us, then we can accept that person's word. That so and so has appointed me as a wakil, or appointed that person as a wakil. So anyway, in other words, whatever is connected to mu'amalat will fall, the same hukum will apply to that. وَمِنَ الدِّيَانَات. Now I said the example of diyanat will come, so this is an example here. And from the examples of diyanat, religious matters, al-ikhbaru bin najasatil ma. If somebody informs you, we did one example yesterday, which was a meat. And if a person informs you of, not the meat, an example of Diyanat is if somebody informs you of the impurity of water, because water is not pure, it's polluted water, so you can accept that. حتى therefore إذا أخبره, sorry, you won't accept that if it's a fasiq. You will only accept it if it's an adil. Therefore إذا أخبره مسلم مرضي لم يتوضأ به. So therefore, if such a Muslim informs him, such a Muslim who is praiseworthy, who is liked by yourself, meaning what, that this person is acceptable in your eyes. This is looks like a righteous person, looks like a pious person. So if such a person informs you that the water is impure, لم يتوضأ به, then you cannot use the water to make wudu. ويتيمم, and rather you will make tayammum. ولو كان المخبر فاسقا, however, if the informant is a fasiq, an open sinner, or masturan, or is mastur, we can't make out, we don't know, is this person a good person or not a good person? Taharra, then you will apply your mind and you will ponder over the matter. You will ponder over the matter, give some thought to the matter, make ijtihad. فإن كان أكبر رأيي أنه صادق يتيمم ويتوضأ به. And as the case in all tahari matters, all matters of tahari, that if your overpowering thought, the conclusion that you come to, your discretion is telling you that this person is truthful, then you should make tayammum and not make wudu with that water, with the impure water. وإن أراك الماء ثم تيمم كان أحوط. However, thereafter he's saying that if he pours the water out and then makes tayammum, this would be more cautious. This would be more closer to caution. This will be preferable to avoid any doubts coming into you later on. If you know, okay, I made tahari, but you know what if? So you won't have any ease of heart regarding your tahara, and as such, it's going to cause you doubts about your ibadah also. So he's saying, as a greater precaution, if you throw the water out and then make tayammum and make your ibadah, that would be more cautious. It would be more cautionary. وَمَا الْعَدَالَةِ يَسْقُطُ احْتِمَالُ الْكَذِبِ. However, if the person is upright, then the possibility of the person lying falls away. فَلَا مَعْنَ لِلْإِحْتِيَاءِ بِالْإِرَاقَةِ. So therefore, there's no meaning to being cautious by throwing the water out. You'll accept it as a word and use the water, not use the water. There's no need to throw the water out, you just make the tayammum. أما التحري فمجرد الظن. However, tahari, applying your mind, your discretion, pondering over the matter, this is merely a assumption, a reasonable assumption that you have come to, a discretion that you have come to after thought. Understand? There's no yaqeen in that. A person who is truthful, there's yaqeen. The side of yaqeen is given preference. But here there's no yaqeen. It's just a reasonable assumption. ولو كان أكبر رأيي أنه كاذب يتوضأ به. So therefore, if his discretion, if the dominant thought in his mind is that this person is lying, this person is a liar, the water can't be impure. Right? Maybe from looking at science, by smelling the water, looking at the water, whatever, you come to the conclusion that this person can't be. And this person also don't look right also outside. Outwardly doesn't look like a right person. يتوضأ به ولا يتيمم. Then in that case, you will make wudu with the water and you will not make tayammum. بترجح الجانب الكاذب. Tahari, why? Because in this case here, your tahari, your dominant thought, your your pondering over the matter, your deliberation over the matter, gave preference to the side of untruth, to the side of that person being a lie, lying. وهذا جواب الحكم. This is the masala of qada. جواب الحكم, حكم here means qada. This is the masala of qada. In other words, qada, and this is what you should do. However, فأمل في الاحتياط تيمموا بعد الوضوء. However, the precautionary masala, or to be cautious, he would advise that the person makes tayammum after wudu. So if you do that, then Quran, it's fine. Your salah is done, your wudu is done, everything. However, if you want to take the side of caution, then rather make tayammum after you made wudu. لما for the reason that we just stated now, that this was done in the place of tahari, which is dhan. There's no yaqeen in it. So you could have made a mistake. You understood that?
Okay.
Any question?
No, so far it's good, man.
ومنها أي ومن الديانات. Further example of ديانات الحل والحرمة concerning halal and haram. With regards to halal and haram. This also falls under diyanat. Understand?
Okay.
So إذا لم يكن فيه زوال الملك وفي in the case where there is no deprivation of ownership, when this person is claiming halal and haram won't lead to somebody being deprived of his ownership, then these same Messiah will apply. In the case of a fasik, in the case of a fasik or mastur, then the same Messiah will apply. You make tahadi. If your tahadi comes to this conclusion that this person seems to be truthful and he's telling the truth in this matter, then you can act accordingly. Otherwise, not. Okay? Otherwise, you ignore what the person is saying. Especially, like I said, if what they are saying, let's say that in the case of hurma, is going to lead to the loss of some kind of ownership. Now, it doesn't give examples of this here. He merely says, وَفِيهَا تَفَاصِيل, that is a lot of explanation, details with regard to this masala, وَتَفْرِعَاتٍ, and many furu'at, many subsidiary masail. ذكرناها في كفاية المنتهي. We have mentioned it in our other kitab, كفاية المنتهي. Right, one example of that which I should give is that if a lady comes, she's either a fasiqa or she's mastura, and she says that I breastfed you and the lady that you're married to. So this will make you brother and sister through radha'a. But if we accept what she's saying, this will lead to a loss of our nikah to this lady, to our wife. Okay? So in this case here, we are not obliged to accept what they are saying. They must bring some proof, some bayina, some dalil for what they are saying. Now there is a hadith, I think in Riyadh al-Salihin and Antabaq al-Taqwa, if I'm not mistaken, where one Sahabi had this particular incident happen to him, and he came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him like, how? He was, how can you say married when this has been said to you? How are you going to, you're always going to be in two minds with regards to your wife. Is she permissible or not permissible for me? So again, it was ihtiyat, not a masala. As the ulama say, Nabi Sallam gave him the sign of precaution, but the masala is this here. That if one person comes forward and you don't know who they are, your family hasn't spoken about it, your family didn't ever told you ever before that you were breastfed by a third party and so forth, you're not known at all, then they have to give proof what they are saying. So that's the masala. Understood that?
Sure.
Okay, let's on from there. Right. And this is a different masala. قال this is now in جامع الصغير إمام محمد رحمه الله تعالى نفعنا الله بعلومه وعلوم مشايخنا في الدارين آمين. ومن دعي إلى وليمة أو طعام فوجد ثمها لعبا أو غناء فلا بأس بأن يأكل ويأكل. If a person is invited to a walima or to some food, giving a dawah to come and eat by somebody's place, and he finds that Thamma means over there. Wajda huna. Thamma that comes in the Quran as well. It's not Summa, or the Dhamma, but Thamma with a Fatha. It's like a ism of over there. It's the Quran as well. And you find over there, Lu'ban, some games taking place. Or and or music. And Fala Ba'sa, there is no problem that he sits and eats. And there are three conditions, even I mention the conditions in the explanation. I'll give it to you upfront so you can be aware of it. And remember also, whenever the ulama say La Ba's, ففيه بأس. And إذا قال الفقهاء لا بأس ففيه بأس. And they use this expression La Ba's, it normally means there is actually something wrong. But obviously they don't have a clear-cut dealing, so they can't say haram or they can't say makruh. So they say La Ba's, meaning that there is some gray, this is like a gray matter, there is some doubt about it. Understood?
Okay.
So there's no problem with the person sitting and eating. Three conditions. Number one, it mustn't be at his table that he's sitting at and eating. Number two, this person mustn't be someone that people in the community follow. It can't be the imam in the community or a mu'allima that teaches the children in the community, or a business person that people look up to in the community, anybody like that, right? An important person in the community, an MP or someone like Muslim MP or whatever, someone that people look up to and follow in the community, that has some standing in the community. It mustn't be somebody like that, especially a religious person. And number three, he must not have known about it beforehand. And he pitched out, all of a sudden he saw this. He wasn't expecting it, and he never thought that it would be like that. So those are the three conditions. He mustn't have been expecting it or known about it beforehand. Mustn't be happening at his table where he's sitting and eating. And he mustn't be somebody that's a muqtada. Doesn't mean somebody that is looked up to or followed in the community. Understood that?
Okay.
قال أبو حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى. Imam Hanifa reported to have said, ابتليت بهذا مرة فصبرت. And I was tested in this way once, and I made sabr. I bore it patiently. وهذا لأن إجابة الدعوة سنة. And the reason for this is that to respond to a da'wah, to an invitation, is a sunnah. قال عليه الصلاة والسلام من لم يجب الدعوة فقد أساء أبا القاسم فلا يتركها لما اقترمت به من البدعة من غيره. The Nabi Sallallahu reported said that the person who does not accept the da'wah of somebody, invitation of somebody, he has disobeyed Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or Kama Qala Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So therefore, we will not leave out the sunnah, abandon the sunnah, because of what has become, because of the bid'ah, because of the innovation, meaning the wrong actions that have been joined to it, that is not connected to it. Okay? Otherwise, the singing got nothing to do with the food. It's not something that cannot be separated from your dawah, from your invitation. So because it is something that can be separated, this karaha is lighayrihi, not li'aynihi. So that is why our ulama say, so that we don't abandon the sunnah and offend the host, you are allowed to sit there, make sabr, make istighfar. Okay?
Okay.
كصلاة الجنازة, we give you an example. كصلاة الجنازة واجبة الإقامة وإن حضرتها نياحة. For example, to establish the janazah salah is wajib. Right? To perform the janazah salah is a wajib. To, you know, even though niyaha means wailing. Right? It's not found so much in our time, but in the previous time, the time of Jahiliyyah and times thereafter, They used to hire professionals to cry and to wail, or sometimes the ladies themselves in the family. Also, most of the time it's the female. They overcome with emotion. They start crying and screaming and grabbing, tearing their clothing and going on. Understand? So even though you went to a janaza and this wailing is carrying on either professionally or because somebody lost their momentum, lost their mind at the passing of this particular person from the females or whoever. But even though this niyaha is carrying on, we won't abandon the janaza. So we still perform the janaza. Follow?
जी जी बना
So in the same way with the accepting of the dawah. Now, must keep in mind when you say accept the dawah, it doesn't mean that you have to attend, just by the way, right? Now you might be wondering, if I have to accept every dawah and I can't go, what happens then? I'm catching a flight that day. My lucky was all afia. When my family's not well, or whatever, I have to go somewhere, I've got a different appointment to go see somebody. I can't make it for the dawah. So now, but what must I do? So I have to go because the Nabi Sallallahu said, I'm not part, I disobeyed him. I said. So the ulama say, in such cases, you say, you must tell the person, I've accepted your dawah, brother or sister, whatever, but please excuse me, I'm unable to attend. For if you want to mention the reason, you can mention the reason, or you can just say vaguely that I have some other appointment, or I have some an urgent business to attend to, or I have a flight to catch, whatever. Understand? So you respond to them, then some of them will have RSVP or whatever. So you do that, the RSVP, you phone them or you message them that I accept your da'wah, but I'm unable to attend for this reason. You got that? Understood that?
जी
So that is the manner of doing that, inshallah. That's what we learned from our elders and our seniors. Allah Masan all of them. فإن قدر على المنع منعه. So if he is able to prevent them and stop them, he should do so. عمل بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. He should stop that. وإن لم يقدر, and if he doesn't have the authority, doesn't have the ability to stop them and to prevent them, يصبر. He must bear it patiently. وهذا إذا لم, now this is the first condition. وهذا إن لم يكن مقتضى. This is when if he is not somebody that is followed, not somebody that people look up to, that admire in the community. That person, فإن كان ولم يقدر, so if he is a مقتضى, and doesn't have the ability and the power على منعهم to stop them, يخرج. In that case, he must leave. In that case, the person should leave. Doesn't matter what the people feel or say. He or she should leave. المعلم or the alim must get up and go. ولا يأكل, and they should not sit. لأن في ذلك شيء الدين. Because in doing so now, to sit now, and he or she is a muqtada, this will lead to a disgrace to the deen. That so-and-so Moulana, so-and-so Mu'allima was sitting in the disco, sitting in the music and whatever. There's dancing, belly dancing taking place in the walima. So this will lead to people shaming the deen. It will lead to people looking down upon the deen. وفتح باب المعصية, and it will lead to opening the door to معصية على المسلمين, upon the Muslims. Because they were going to say, but Maulana so-and-so is doing so, or Mu'allima so-and-so is doing so. He's so pious, she's so pious, he's the Imam of the Masjid, he's teaching the Darul Ulum, she's a Mu'allima of our children. They're doing it, so why can't we do it? As people do nowadays. والمحكي عن أبي حنيفة, and that incident which is mentioned with regards to Imam Hanifa في الكتاب in Jami al-Saghir, كان قبل أن يصير مقتدى. This was before he became an Imam. This was before he became a leader. ولو كان ذلك على المائدة لا ينبغي أن يأخذ. The second condition, and if this is happening on his, the person is not a muqtada, but it is happening at his table or her table, لا ينبغي أن يقعد. Not appropriate for that person to remain sitting there. وإن لم يكن مقتدى, even though they are not somebody who is followed, even though they are not somebody who is looked up to. بقوله تعالى فلا تقعد بعد الذكرى مع القوم الظالمين, because Allah says in the Quran, do not sit after remembering, or after the remembrance has come to you, after the reminder has come to you, sorry, for those who are doing wrong, with the wrongful people, with the sinful people. وهذا كله بعد حضور ولو right? And the third condition, all of these Messiah, all what we mentioned before, is after he or she has presented themselves and they found it to be like that. ولو علم قبل الحضور لا يحضر. However, if you know this is going to happen before presenting yourself, before attending, and if you knew this is going to happen before attending the function, then you should not attend the function. Like sometimes people will send, what you call this, they send a card with the whole, what's the word they use? The schedule, send the program schedule, what's going to happen, what's taking place, what activities are going to happen. So they will put it on there. So if you knew from beforehand, or somebody told you, somebody who's close to the family, or you're close to the family, and it came down the grapevine, that this is what is planned, and you shouldn't attend. لأنه لم يلزمه حق الدعوة. Why? Because in this case here now, the right of accepting the da'wah does not become binding upon the person. بخلاف إذا ما هجم عليه, contrary to where this happens suddenly, unexpectedly, you pitched up and then you saw this. لأنه قد لزمه, because in this case here now, it's already become binding upon him by him attending the function. ودلت المسألة على أن الملاهي كلها حرام. And this masala indicates towards the fact that all malahi, all what you call this, all types of amusement is haram. حتى التغني بضرب القضيب, even to the extent of music by beating on a branch or beating on a piece of wood. This will also be fall under malahi and pastimes, amusements. وكذا قول أبي حنيفة رحمة الله ابتليت. And similarly, Abu Hanifa from the statement, ubtilitu, I was tested, I was tried, I was put into fitna with regards to this. So you only tested when something is haram, ubtilitu. You wouldn't have said that if there's something permissible. لأن الابتلاء بالمحرم, because a fitna only occurs with regards to something which is haram. Understood?
Yeah.
Any questions? Anything you didn't understand?
No, alhamdulillah, understood it.
Alhamdulillah. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.